Welcome to PolicyCast. Today, we're joined by Manoj Mishra to discuss a major development in India US trade relations. The two countries have finalized an interim trade agreement that reduces US tariffs on Indian goods to 18% and withdraws the additional 25% duty imposed earlier. This deal opens up new opportunities across sectors from manufacturing and exports to technology and supply chains, while also reshaping the broader trade dynamics between the two economies. Let's dive into what this means for Indian businesses. So, my first question to you, Manoj. The US has cut tariffs on Indian goods to 18% and withdrawn the additional 25% duty. What does this interim trade agreement really change for India's exporters compared to the earlier tariff regime?
Thanks, Imran. So, as you rightly mentioned, that tariff rates have changed. So, from 50 to 25% penalty for Russian oil has gone. Second, they are also proposing to reduce the reciprocal tariff for 25 to 18%. Uh, so, definitely, it is a bonanza for Indian exporters. One, because in the interim we developed a new market, an alternative market to some extent. That is one. Second, we also got into FTA with the European Union. So again, that has paved way for our exporters, and definitely now US reducing their tariff rates to 18% is a bonanza for the exporter, and now Indian exporters would be in advantageous position than what they used to be earlier, even before the tariff. So at there could be one argument that earlier it used to be 3% or 4%, now it is 18%. But we'll have to see this in a perspective that almost entire world is paying that tariff. So if we compare ourselves with our neighbors or competitors like Vietnam, China, Thailand, Malaysia, and to some extent Bangladesh, their rate would range above 18%. So we are into advantageous position, and it will be very, very beneficial for our exporter and pave way for more exports and more growth.
Thank you, Manoj. That takes me to the next question. We're also hearing about duty cuts on cosmetics and better market access for Indian processed foods like jams and juices. How meaningful is this for Indian manufacturers and consumer facing brands?
So there are two parts to it, Simran. One, that cosmetics is something you would agree that it depends on the branding to a large extent. So, like if you go for some cosmetics, like you can get it from 10 to 1,000 for the same kind of product. Obviously, that will depend on quality and branding. And in most of the cases, we used to import some brands, or I would say some premium brand from USA and other European countries. So one that reducing duty on such product by India and giving the market access will only like benefit Indian consumers and provide them a good product at a lesser cost, and it will also expose to them to various quality products which were not earlier available to Indian market. That is one. Second, it is not going to harm Indian exporters or domestic manufacturers, because in any case they are not manufacturing the products which are being imported. So, if we talk about the class, what we are manufacturing, that we are not going to import. Whatever we are going to import is not being manufactured in India. So it is win-win for Indian consumer as well as domestic trade. So that is one part, and at the second part we have ample like capabilities related to jams and juices, which we will be able to export, which will have access to Indian market. So that will another advantage to the domestic manufacturer, or I would say farmers, who would be able to get garner more revenue from this.
Thank you. India has committed to reducing tariffs on several US industrial and agricultural products and to purchasing large volumes of US goods over the next 5 years. How should businesses read this trade off from an India Inc. perspective?
So again, for Indian manufacturers, cheaper access to US industrial inputs can actually lower production cost and improve quality and strengthen integration into global value chains. For the agriculture sector, the pact adopts a calibrated and balanced approach while safeguarding Indian farmers. So, if you read between the lines, so we have allowed only those items which we are not growing in India. So, I can give example of tree nuts. In most of the cases, we import tree nuts, and we earlier also used to import tree nuts from USA. So tree nuts, we promised to give concessions, etc. But the major issues or major areas of dispute, which was related to say uh, Indian farmer crops, food grains, fruits, dairy products, these items are remained protected. Apart from that, we have also not opened door for genetically modified crops. So to that extent, we could provide necessary safeguard to Indian farmers. We allowed concessions only in the cases where we are not growing those products or not going amply or not growing in terms of the quality which we would be recommended for. So it is a win-win for both. At one end, we are allowing them to export the products which we are not growing, and at the other end, we are safeguarding the product which we believe our farmers are growing, or it may pollute Indian market. So we are not allowing that. So I think it is a balanced approach, and we are able to protect our farmers well.
Thanks, Manoj. With the US removing tariffs on certain Indian aircraft and parts, granting tariff rate quotas for autos, and a negotiated outcome on generic pharmaceuticals, what will be the impact on India?
See, this part of the deal delivers targeted but meaningful relief for key Indian sectors. First, the removal of Section 232 tariffs on certain aircraft and aircraft part linked to steel, aluminium, and copper will directly lower cost for Indian supplier and reduce uncertainty in a sector driven by long-term contract. So, if you understand, it is all like when we talk about aircraft, it is all related to parts. So, aircraft leasing or sale is one deal, whereas supply and repair of part is another side of it, which is a long term contract and would be more often than selling aircraft per se. So reduction on tariff on that will like lower burden on this industry, which is already in red. So that is another part. Second, if we talk in terms of auto components, of course, we are one of the major manufacturer of auto components in India, and if we are getting access to a global market, we are getting access to US market at a lower cost or lower tariff. That is definitely a boom to auto industry. It will more attract more investment and more and create more I would say employment for Indian people. So that is another area where it is going to have beneficial impact for Indian exporters. For pharmaceuticals, as of now, I would say that there's no immediate impact, but if you go by the information available in the public domain or the kind of statements made before entering into this deal that they are evaluating and going to impose heavy tariff on generic drugs and all, uh, that uncertainty will go. And if you recall, in September last year, they imposed around 100% tariff on patented drugs. Okay, so branded and patented drugs. If that is some sort of indicators, then you can say that we averted a huge tariff imposition on Indian pharma generic drugs, which we are largest manufacturer in the world. So yes, in a way, it is a very good for all these three sectors, like one auto, then aircraft parts, and third on pharma. This is what precisely your question.
Yes, Manoj, thank you so much. And that actually takes me to my last question. The agreement also talks about addressing non tariff barriers, rules of origin, and regulatory alignment. How important are these elements compared to tariff cuts, and what challenges do companies still need to watch out for?
Yeah, so I'll tell you before I answer, I'll narrate an incident. So, in some cases, with other countries, we have FTAs, and you have to obtain certificate from the supplier that these products are originated in that particular country. So, for example, take Thailand. Okay. So, if goods are manufactured in Thailand, and if you get certificate from the designated authority in that particular country, uh, Indian customs will not impose any duty, or duty will be at reduced rate. So people used to import, and at that point of time, on the basis of certificate, Indian authority would not charge any customs duty on that. But after some time, when they audit such transaction, and it turned out that the certificate was forged, or in some cases, even if certificate was not forged, it was genuine certificate, but they found that the contents of the certificate is not proper, and Indian customs authorities denied exemption on custom duty and asked them to pay custom duty along with interest and also levied penalty. So what it means that see, merely tariff reduction will not work. Will Indian exporters and importers have to be very, very vigilant about authenticity of the documentation. Whatever certificate they are issuing, or in case of exporter, and whatever certificate they are receiving as an importer, they need to verify genuineness of contents independently, because at a later date, when if it turned out that contents of certificate is not proper, then there could be denial of benefit along with interest and penalty. So it is always advisable that take precautions, do proper due diligences, just don't go only on face of the document, and then it is going to be win-win. Otherwise, it is going to trouble both importer and the exporters.
Thank you, Manoj, for those valuable insights and that incident also that you've mentioned. This interim agreement marks an important step in easing trade frictions and strengthening India US economy ties. But it also comes with strategic considerations for businesses on both sides. We hope today's discussion helped our listeners understand the opportunities, the trade offs, and the road ahead. We'll be back soon with more conversations on tax, trade, and policy. Until then, thanks for tuning in to PolicyCast.